My question is, do you believe professional help is better than self-help healing?
Go ahead.
Okay, so
We both deep breath that one.
that is based on your perspective, your abilities, your... I did the self-help thing, and I have gotten further on my own doing self-help than I ever did in therapy. Therapy is not a one-size-fits-all. I went through a lot of therapists, a lot of medications. There was a therapist I saw for maybe 2 weeks, and I was like, no, this isn't going to work. You're not the right personality type. I don't feel like you're understanding what I'm saying. It is a process to find a therapist. Personally, I would suggest therapy for like a first step so you can get a grasp of what's happening. Once you get an understanding of accountability and you don't beat yourself down and never do anything about it, and you're able to accept that accountability and recognize you need to grow, that's when the self-help is more effective. I don't like therapy.
I don't either. I believe there's a place for it.
Yeah.
And I believe that there are people out there that is greatly helped by therapy. But I know that you know your life.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting down and trying to explain someone your entire fucking life for them to figure out what's going on with you, just for them to tell you how to process it, you can YouTube and you can figure your shit out. You know, when people message us and be like, I've gotten more from 2 episodes of your podcast than 6 months of therapy.
Yep.
I've gotten more from your podcast and I've gotten in 10 years of therapy because we've gotten that one too.
We have.
I'm big on self-help. You know your life. You know the things that you're hung up on. You may need to find ways to process that shit, and you can find that on YouTube, and maybe that's where you need to find a therapist to help you work through that shit. But in reality, you can find somebody that you trust to talk about your life and just let it out, and maybe they can help you figure out where to start.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that is the hardest part, is figuring out where to start your shit. I believe that the self-help process is the only way to get through it. Therapy
Yeah.
is a tool. We are a tool.
Yeah.
We're not doing shit. We are giving you guys ideas, thoughts, and opinions. You are taking that, processing it the way you process things,
And applying it.
Right, and deciding if it's something you can apply to your life. You're making a decision to do better based off the things that we've told you. We're not doing that shit for you. So even if we were your therapist, we're not doing the work. You are. So self-help, as far as I'm concerned, is absolutely the way to go.
Yeah.
I also think that there are things that you can get from groups that you're not going to get from a therapist. I get more value from our men's group on Discord, the private men's group that I'm a part of, than I've ever gotten from a therapist.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten in there and like just word vomited my shit. And I've had 5 or 6 other men who are like, bro, I feel that. Like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? That reminds me of this quote. That reminds me of this book. Check out this TikTok video I saw today that reminds me of exactly of that. Like, because we're all alike. All of us in that group are there to be better. And as that men's group comes into fruition and I'm leading this group, I'm not doing shit other than providing topics and ideas to like grow these people. But everyone in that group is already a leader of men. There are people in that group that know things about things that I don't even understand when they're talking. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Like, you're going to get a lot more from a group of like-minded, hardworking people than you will from a therapist.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree with that, definitely.
and it's probably not worded it the right way, but you obviously know what I meant. So
I choose self-help over therapy. When I'm speaking with a therapist, I have to sugarcoat things. Because if I say what I'm actually thinking, I'm getting Baker acted.
yeah. What does that say though? Because you're supposed to be going to them to get help.
Right.
And if you can't be honest with them because you're a fear of being committed or being forced to take drugs,
Right.
like that's a problem.
It is.
You're not going to ever be open and forthcoming like you will be with your friends.
Yeah.
If you've got somebody, and again, I'm just going to use Discord as an example. I've never actually done this to those guys, but if I got up one morning and I was suicidal and I was like, guys, I think today's the day. We're going to go ahead and just put that final date on my tombstone this afternoon. I worded it that way because I don't want to get flagged on YouTube. I guarantee you that I would have at least one person text message me within 15 minutes of me making that post. I'd have 4 or 5 guys in there trying to talk me off the ledge. And it would be from a place of love, and I want you here, not from a place of, well, you know, you just stay here for a minute, I got to go to the bathroom. 911, yeah, I have a patient talking about control alt deleting themselves. I need you to come get them. We're going to go ahead and admit them for a 72-hour stay. No, man, fuck that. Got too much going on in my life. I can't miss 72 hours.
So I am more comfortable with my self-help because I know the darkest parts of me. I know the foul things that my depression can ooze into my brain.
Right.
And I am more comfortable facing that on my own and trying to figure out why I'm feeling that way versus in trying to speak to another human being and have them judge me for how I'm feeling.
Right.
There are a lot of therapists and psychologists on YouTube who are just putting out videos, like lengthy 1 to 3 hour videos about mental health, coping mechanism, things that you can do, identifications for any mental illnesses you may think you have, which is not a diagnosis. It is, have you considered this? If you're experiencing these 10 things, it could be this. And if that's the case, then you should go and speak with a therapist and say, I don't know what's going on. I've heard this. Can you kind of help me figure out where I need to go?
Right. I think in those situations, that's where therapists come into play.
Right.
When you need a diagnosis and you need a clinical, like, this is what I think is happening, can you validate that? Then you have a definitive, this is, but you know what? The problem with that is if you go to one therapist, they're going to say, yes, that's the case. And the next one may not.
Right.
So you're getting an opinion. It's practicing medicine.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah. You have anything else you want to add?
No.
Because there's one more question.
We'll ask a question.
And if so, would it be wrong for me to initiate that professional help if my husband doesn't take the first step?
Yes, it would be wrong.
I would feel
Betrayed. I would feel betrayed.
betrayed, violated. Like you don't trust me. Like you don't understand what I'm going through. Yeah. A lot of mixed emotions in that.
In that scenario, if you do that, knowing that he's against it, you are going to be betraying him. If he tells you, no, I'm not okay with this, and you try to force that to happen, you are creating a distance between you and your person.
Correct.
If you think that he could benefit from therapy or from our podcast or from anything that's going to start to engage or affect change in him and his psyche, you need to present it to him from a we standpoint.
Right.
I would like to do this with you. I think that it could benefit you, and if nothing else, it could benefit us. Make it about us, not about you. Because when it's about us, if he's in love with you and he wants to do better and wants to be better for you, making it about you or us is going to be a whole lot different than making it about him.
Definitely.
I would not go to therapy. I wouldn't, personally. If you were like, we need to go to therapy, like, no, we really don't. Like, we need to sit down and have a conversation and figure our shit out. But if you were like, I'm super fucking depressed and I don't know what I'm going through and I need to go to a therapist and I would like you to accompany me, it's a very different conversation.
Right.
I would go. And I got to be honest, I'd probably get roped into conversations at that point, especially if we had a good therapist. Somebody that I can relate to, that genuinely gives a shit and is not just trying to push drugs or get you to come back for another session to make some money. You know what I mean? Like, the right person matters.